Hello, and welcome back to Spooky English, the podcast for English learners who love strange and mysterious stories. I'm your host, Jake.
And I'm Lauren. It's great to be here with all of you for our fourth episode.
Today, we are talking about a very strange topic. It's not ghosts, it's not monsters, it's time itself. We are talking about time slips.
Time slips? That sounds interesting, Jake. But what exactly is a time slip?
That's a great question. Imagine you are walking down a normal street. Everything is modern. The cars, the buildings, the people. But then, for a few seconds, or maybe a few minutes, everything changes.
Changes how?
The cars become old-fashioned. The buildings look different. The people are wearing clothes from 50 or 100 years ago. You have slipped into the past. And then, just as suddenly, you are back in the present. That is a time slip.
So, it's not like time travel in the movies with a big machine? It just happens by accident?
Exactly. It's spontaneous and unexpected. And there are some very famous stories about it. The first one we're going to talk about is one of the most famous in history, the Moberly-Jordan incident.
The Moberly-Jordan incident. Okay, I've heard of this one. Tell our listeners about it.
This story takes place in August 1901. Two English women, Charlotte Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, were on holiday in Paris.
Right, and it's important to say they weren't just tourists. They were academics, very intelligent and respected women. One was the head of a college at Oxford.
That's right. So they were very credible. They decided to visit the famous Palace of Versailles. While walking through the gardens to find the smaller palace called the Petit Trianon, they got a little lost. As they walked, they said the feeling of the place changed. It became quiet, lifeless, and they felt a strange sadness in the air. Then they started to see people, but the people were wearing very old-fashioned clothes from the 1700s. They saw gardeners and servants. They even saw a woman sitting on the grass drawing a picture, who they thought looked like Queen Marie Antoinette.
At the time, did they think it was strange, or did they just think it was a party or some kind of performance for tourists?
They felt it was strange, but they continued walking. They saw old buildings and a small bridge that they couldn't find on any modern map of the gardens. Eventually, a man in a dark cloak ran up and told them which way to go. They followed his directions, and suddenly, they found themselves at a normal party, and everything was back in 1901.
Okay, so what happened when they discussed it later?
When they returned to England, they started researching. They were shocked. They discovered that the old buildings, the bridge, and the garden layout they saw perfectly matched maps of Versailles from the year 1789.
Wow, the same year as the French Revolution? That's very specific.
Yes, they believed they had walked into a memory of the past, into the final days of Queen Marie Antoinette. They wrote a book about it called An Adventure.
It's an incredible story, but as the skeptic, I have to ask, could there be another explanation? They were in a foreign country. It was a hot day. They were tired and lost. Perhaps their minds just played tricks on them?
That's what many people say. It's possible. But what if similar things happen to many different people in the same place even today?
Okay, you have my attention. A story from over 100 years ago is one thing, but if it's still happening, where is this place?
It's a street called Bold Street in the city of Liverpool in England.
Bold Street. Is it an old, spooky street?
Not at all. It's a very popular, modern shopping street with lots of cool shops and restaurants. But many people have reported experiencing time slips there.
Really? What kind of things do they report?
The stories are often very similar. A person will be walking down the street and suddenly the normal sounds of the city disappear. The street looks different. The road might be cobblestone, not asphalt. They see old cars and buses from the 1950s or 60s.
And the shops and people?
They change too. People see old business names on the buildings, like a bakery called Crips or a department store that closed down long ago. The people on the street are wearing old-fashioned clothes. Then, in an instant, everything returns to normal.
That is so strange. The fact that many people see the same old shops, like Crips, makes it harder to explain away. So how common are these reports?
Well, there are no official statistics, but the term time slip is quite modern. In the past, people might have called these experiences seeing ghosts or visions. With the internet, people can now share their stories. Forums about the Bold Street phenomenon have hundreds of personal accounts.
That's a good point. An experience that one person kept secret 50 years ago can now be shared online, and they can find other people with similar stories.
Exactly. It makes you wonder how many stories we've never heard. This leads us to the big question. What could cause a time slip?
Right. What are the theories? I imagine there's a scientific one and a more spooky one.
You got it. The spooky theory, the one I like, is that certain places have a rip in space-time.
A rip in space-time? That sounds like something from a science fiction movie. What does it mean in simple terms?
It's the idea that time isn't a straight line. In some special places, perhaps where something very emotional happened, the barrier between the past and the present is very thin. It's so thin that sometimes you can see through it or even step through it for a moment, like a window to another time.
I see. It's a very interesting idea, but what is the more scientific explanation?
The scientific idea is less exciting. It suggests a biological glitch.
A biological glitch? Meaning the problem isn't with time, but with our brains?
Exactly. Some neurologists think it could be a small, harmless seizure in a part of the brain that controls memory and perception. For a moment, an old memory or something you've read or seen in a movie feels completely real. It's like a very powerful daydream or a temporary hallucination.
That actually makes a lot of sense. The brain is so complex, it's easy to imagine it making a small mistake sometimes. But that doesn't fully explain why different people see the same details in the same place.
That's the big problem with the scientific theory. So what do we have? A glitch in time or a glitch in the brain? What do you think is more likely, Lauren?
Well, my logical side says the brain theory is more probable. It feels more possible. But the stories, especially the ones from Bold Street where people share these specific details, are very convincing. It's hard to dismiss them. What about you, Jake?
I'm a believer. I think there are mysteries in the universe that science can't explain yet. For me, time slips are one of those amazing mysteries. I think they are real.
Well, we would love to know what our listeners think. Are time slips real windows into the past, or just a trick of the mind?
That's all the time we have for today on Spooky English. If you enjoyed our journey into the world of time slips, please give us a like and subscribe.
It really helps our show grow. And while you're there, you can check out our previous episodes on ghosts, UFOs, and mysterious creatures.
Thanks for listening, and remember, stay spooky.
Goodbye, everyone.